We have Jeff on the line with us. Jeff is from M1 Combat Academy in Surprise, Arizona. Jeff, thank you for your time today. Excited to get to know you and the school a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long has the school been open, things like that. Go ahead.
So my name is Jeff Cook. I'm from Glendale, Arizona. I
Hmm.
grew up right here. Went to school here. Went to college here, and then I joined the Army in 2003.
Cool.
And then I moved back to Arizona when I got out of the Army in 2015. When I moved back, I started at a place called the MMA Lab under John Crouch.
Nice.
Um, and then in 2023, me and another student from the lab opened the M1 Combat Academy.
Nice. So how long have you been doing jujitsu?
So in the Army, they started teaching you basic combatives, which comes off of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And
Yeah.
so I started learning Jiu-Jitsu in 2003, but I didn't take an interest in it until 2007.
Uh-huh. And so when did you decide, like, okay, I want to open up a school, like, this is what I want to do? When did that come about?
It came about after so we had a gym um, that opened in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then that gym shut down. The gym was called Allied Jiu-Jitsu, and then Allied stopped, and then me and this other black belt decided to start the gym. So I'd say roughly 2022 is when we started to want to open our own space.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so how did you specifically like get into jujitsu? Was it because of the army or what is it that
Yes.
piqued your interest there?
So in 2007, when I started up again, my first actual jiu-jitsu instructor was a guy named Peter. He was a fellow Green Beret,
Mm-hmm.
and he was from Rio. And he's been training jiu-jitsu ever since he was in Rio. He moved to the States. Um, and he was teaching a class in Bagram, Afghanistan, and I wanted to go check it out. So I went and tried it, and one of my soldiers um, was kicking my butt,
Uh-huh.
and I thought to myself, I didn't want to lose to this because I felt that I should be a better fighter based on my job.
Uh-huh.
And then over from 2007 to 2008, I trained for 7 months straight, 3 hours a night in Afghanistan to begin my journey. And I'd say it had more to do with me being a better fighter or a better soldier. So that's why I started learning jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm. Was it like love at first sight for you, or was it like just super
Yes.
hard? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was love at first sight. I fell in love with it,
Nice.
and I haven't fallen out of love with it since
Yeah. Cool.
2007.
Cool, cool. All right, so let's talk about your journey as a professor. So, how long have you been teaching?
Since 2007.
Okay. And so
So
do you
the reason why is so my instructor started a curriculum, and it was on a piece of paper. It was the same move. So Monday would be sweeps, Tuesday would be, attacks, Wednesday would be this. So it was the same schedule, nothing changed. So when he would have to go out of leave the base and go do stuff, I would teach the class based off the curriculum because it was the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
So out of necessity to have an instructor there to help let people come on the base and learn, someone who lived there already would had to let people come in.
Mhm.
Um, so I figured I would just run the class, and that's pretty much when it started. It wasn't
So
out
so
of
you
because I wanted to, I had
all
to.
right. So you started teaching adults. Did you have experience teaching children too or no?
There was no kids in Afghanistan.
Yeah, okay. So this was the teaching kids part is completely new to you.
No.
Okay.
So I moved out. So out of the time I was in the army, I deployed 5 times between Iraq and Afghanistan.
Mhm.
So most of my experience was teaching other soldiers or soldiers from a foreign army, say the Afghan National Army. I would teach classes in Afghanistan to adults on basic combatives. The same thing the
Mhm.
army would teach us, I would teach them. Coming back to the States, I would help out with kids classes, and I'd say that probably started in 2009 is when I started teaching
Gotcha.
kids.
Okay.
And then when I went to the lab in 2015, about 8 months in, I asked if I could teach kids because their kids coach wasn't wasn't consistent, so I filled
Mm-hmm.
in and started teaching the kids class, me and another guy, and we grew the class from 4 kids to 20 kids every class.
Awesome. Nice.
But the lab was already established, so it helped.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, and so do you compete at all? Do you not?
Yes, I
Yeah, you still
competed.
compete?
Yeah, I've competed with AZBJJ League. I started it. I say I signed up at brown belt, but it's hard to find guys my age and weight and belt to compete
Mm-hmm.
against. We're kind of like unicorns, there's not that many old guys doing jiu-jitsu anymore. So I tried at brown belt in 2017. I tried to compete AZBJJ. No one signed up, but I competed in 2022 at black belt at an AZBJJ League tournament. There's only one guy, and I came out somehow ranked second
Uh-huh.
out of all black belts my age and weight for the
Nice.
AZBJJ League.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I've been supporting AZBJJ League since 2015
Super cool.
when they were at the Phoenix. They were still at Phoenix College then,
Yeah.
and I helped corner kids and other adults that went to the lab at tournaments.
Cool. So tell us about the very first time you competed.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, this is going back, but let's hear
So
it.
coming home from Afghanistan with 8 months of experience, I never wore a gi. I did a lot of no gi. So my first tournament was probably '08 in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. That was the first place I ever saw a brown belt, which is like seeing a unicorn back in
Yeah. Yeah.
2008. There weren't many of them.
Yeah.
So that was eye-opening. But my first tournament at white belt, I wear A3 gi, but for some reason I bought an A5 gi.
Uh-huh.
So it was like wearing a bathrobe to compete
Yeah.
in.
Right.
So I learned that lesson to make sure you wear what fits. I think it was a small, it's been like three other white belts and me. And it was fun. I didn't say it was terrifying because of the things I've done with my life in the army.
Yeah.
Um, so being mentally prepared wasn't a big deal. It's just physically prepared for what's going about to happen in 5 minutes, for
Right.
4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
How tired you get, you lose your grips go first. Um,
We've all
and
been there.
even
Yeah.
yeah, even though your best laid plan of what you're going to do never turns out the same way.
Right. Correct. Correct.
I had some pretty high hopes. I told my coach I was like, I'm gonna do a takedown. I'm gonna do an omoplata. He's gonna try to roll out. None
And
of
none
that
of it
happened.
happened. Yeah,
No,
of
it
course.
it was 3 months of 3 minutes of spinning in a circle with
Yep.
another white belt trying to
Yep.
find a way to get down.
Right. You live and you learn, right? What can you
Ex
do?
exactly.
What are your thoughts on competition? Do you think it's for everyone?
No. Yes, yes, and no. No, if I've got a guy that weighs, 350 pounds and he just started, he's trying to lose weight, I recommend to those guys to wait a little bit, get used
Mm-hmm.
to your body and moving,
Yeah.
and then look to compete, 6, maybe 8 months into your time training. But there's some people have got prior experience with wrestling or, high school sports and they used to competition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I leave it more up to them, not for me, because a lot of these people have jobs outside of jiu-jitsu. And you go to a
Yeah.
tournament and
Right.
you wreck your knee, you might have a hard time going back to work on Monday and explaining to them
Right.
what happened.
Right. And so, as a competitor, tell us how you handle your internal battles because you know it's a mindset game going on those mats. So, how do you handle like the stress of it all and just all of it?
Well, for me,
Like,
like I said, from prior experiences in the hairy situations I've been in, competing is probably one of the easier things I've done physically with my body.
mm-hmm.
But for my students, I do the same thing the Army did for us. We try to put them into the scenarios or situations and make them as realistic as possible so that when you are out there competing, even though you've never actually been out on the mats, the competition mats in the gym, you can try to, simulate what it's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
The high intensity, the time left, um, making sure they know the points, the rules, before they go out there so that they're comfortable.
So you do go over all of that with your students?
Absolutely.
Nice. That's awesome. Not a lot of people do that. Like go over the rule set and everything. So that's good to know. All right. So what are your requirements for somebody to compete for the very first time? Do you have any requirements for your students?
No, if you
No.
feel like you're ready to go out there and compete, we do everything we can physically and mentally to make sure you're prepared. But
Mm-hmm.
now, if they're actually, they say they will be, but when they actually go out there and compete, then we find out for sure if they're mentally and physically prepared. And then that loads them up for the next tournament, you know.
Yeah.
Um, you got to do the first one to like rip that Band-Aid off
Yeah.
to know if you're
Right.
ready. And some people never compete again. This isn't for me, the nerves.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to stop going to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom right before going on the mats because they get so nervous.
Yeah.
But all those nerves dwindle away the more you compete. And I always recommend compete
Mm-hmm.
more than once. So the first one is scary. The second one it gets a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Do the nerves ever really go away though? You think? No.
No,
Yeah.
it's all nerves that they put on themselves. I don't think any coaches should add any extra nerves or nervousness to their competitors and make them feel comfortable. It's something that they do to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Win or lose, it doesn't affect me. It has more effect on them.
Right. Do you offer specific like competition classes or do you sort of just run your classes in a competition way? Like tell us a little bit about that.
So I have a specific class for adults and for kids
Mm-hmm.
for the one to compete.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically on Fridays. Um, my typical class is I'll teach for 30 minutes and then we roll for the last half of class. It's not normal to have a teacher that rolls 30 minutes every class, and that's something I wish I got more of because some of my
Yeah.
coaches like to, go to 50 minutes into the class and it's like, okay, guys, grab a partner. You
Yeah.
might get 2 rounds in. For sure, every class we get at least 5 rounds in. And that's not always killing yourselves, but it's, lower belts working with upper belts on things and not, I tell my upper belts, don't kill the white belts or blue belts because we want them to come back tomorrow. So I like to partner up senior or more experienced belts with white belts so that it's safer for everybody involved because everyone knows that the scariest person on the mat is a white belt.
That is true. That is true. All right. And so how do you guide your students for weight cutting? Is
I
there
don't.
anything you don't? What do you
No.
tell them like about it or
It's all stuff that it's again as the students put that on themselves. They feel like
okay.
if they're lighter, they might compete better. You'll feel better because of your dieting and not eating all the junk food you used to.
Uh-huh.
But from knowing wrestlers going throughout jiu-jitsu, it's in wrestling they cut weight and it's not good for your liver, your brain, your body, your muscles.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say if you are going to lose weight, start months in advance and don't start 2 weeks out or a week out. If you're not used to putting your body through that stress, it's not going to be
Right.
good for you on the mats because you step out there, you slap and you bump, and the adrenaline rush comes and you realize that,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I'm dehydrated, I'm hungry, I didn't get sleep. So I always
Mm-hmm.
recommend do it safely.
And do you talk to your students about being mentally prepared before these big events?
Of course.
And what do you tell
Um,
them?
no matter how much training you have, you're still only 50% ready for an actual altercation or competition, and you have to get out and compete. So my first coach, guy named Greg Thompson, Um, he said, no matter how much training we've received, like I told you, you're only 50% ready for if you actually have to fight somebody hand to hand for your life, be it in a combat zone or in the streets somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely true. All the training I received in the army of getting shot at or shooting at people, when you actually first time you get shot at, you're like, holy crap, I'm not as prepared as I thought I was.
Yeah.
But after getting shot at a bunch, you kind of get used to it. This is kind of the same
You
thing
get used
with
to it.
tournament.
Oh my God, that's scary. That is true. That is true. And so, what advice would you give to somebody that's going to compete for the very first time?
I recommend they go watch a couple tournaments and kind of see how it goes. See the intensity. You'll never match the intensity in the gym that you will on the mats competing. So I always recommend to my kids and adults, go watch, go support, and then see if you're ready after watching a couple.
Okay. And how has your experience been with the Arizona Jiu Jitsu League? You're free to say anything that you'd like. So, hopefully, it's been good, but let us know.
Well, I'm happy that they moved out of the Phoenix College arena for the AZBJ because it was so tight in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was jammed on top of each other. Going out to I think it's Bell Bank Park. Is it still called
Yeah.
that?
No, it's Arizona Athletic Grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's much more open.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they moved the venue out there because it's easier to move around, it's easier to watch. However, it gets so loud because more people are coming to the tournaments now from what they were a decade ago,
Which
I'm
is a
sure
good thing. Yes.
for sure. But it's, as a coach, trying to coach
Yeah.
my students, but on the outside of the mat, there's so much more noise coming towards us as coaches. It's hard to yell through and
Yeah,
get
especially
to
the
my student.
larger events too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, so for parents and spectators want to come watch, we appreciate that they want to help their loved one, their child.
Yeah.
They could be hindering their coach from getting the proper advice over to the student.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of time it's the parents screaming the same thing over and over again. Armbar,
I
armbar,
know.
it's like armbar pass. We're onto something different now.
Yeah.
Um, I think I forgot your question.
So how has your experience been with the Arizona Jiu-Jitsu?
It's been great. So now the way Gustavo runs it, it's all based off of what's that app that we use? Smooth
Smooth
Comp.
calm? Yeah.
It's 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 easy to see when you're going to compete. The times come up on the board. It's clear. Um, the the people that run or the mat coordinators that run our students out to the mat, they're very persistent on making sure the kids are there, they're in the right spot. Same thing with the adults, and that it's so well run now. It feels like a much bigger tournament, but it's a small
Mm-hmm.
town jiu-jitsu feel. And
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better over the years.
Yeah, it's cool that you've been supporting for a while and you've seen the evolution. So appreciate all the support. And where can people find you on social media and the school?
So the school's on 113th Avenue and Bell Road, just inside Surprise on Bell. Our social media is M1 Combat Academy, and that's the only one we got.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for your time today. Very nice getting to know you. And we'll see you at the events.
Thank you. Have a good
All
one.
right,
Have a good
thanks,
one.
Jeff. You too.